So there's two Maimorim here. The first Maimor is the one that the Rabbi said Friday after Mincha, to everybody's surprise. And the second Maimor, Hemshech, Shabbos, after Fabrenga. This is the first one. Layehudim Moishe v'simcha v'sasim, because they didn't have light and joy and gladness, because and respect. We do it, the Rabbi saying in the Siyeno, it's known the Dik of the Rabbi and Bedrushit Ben Azokim and Malam became Acharav. Starting with Al Rebbe's Maimer. And the Rabbi which followed. Yeah. Ma'alosh and Oiroh, but Taisva say, why does it say Layehudim Moishe Oiroh and not Oiroh? Why with the hay in the feminine form? Lush in the cave. The question becomes stronger. The Gemara teaches all of these words and says in the word Oiroh zu Torah. So Oiroh is Torah and Simcha is Yom Tov and Sosan is Mila and Because is Tfilm. So Oiroh is Torah. So if Oiroh is Torah, for sure it should be Oiroh. And the Gemara says, where do we say Oiroh is Torah? The Torah Oiroh. The Gemara brings a pasuk from Mishlei that Torah is compared to light, but there it's in Lashon Zachar. So why is it Lashon Dekeva in the pasuk here? So Rabbi Lama Shina Kosov Khan. Why does the pasuk change it here, Likli, as opposed to the pasuk in Mishlei? Which the Gemara brings, Likli Torah B'Shem Meida, here it's called Oiroh. Gam Yesh L'Havim Hemshech and Yonim B'Koso. You have to understand the Hemshech Advarim. Showing the Oiroh kosher, that Oiroh is connected to Simcha and Sasan V'Kosh, and Havalachim, which follows. What is the connection? Third question, Gam Yidu Aminik L'Sayim Posuk Zeb B'Brocha. Kein Tielonu Tzeminig in Avdollah, to bring this pasuk and to say Kein Tielonu. Shezuhi Bakosho Tfila Shinyonim Elu Yiyu Gam Etzleinu. The pasuk says that was for the Yidden then, but we're asking should be for us. But Tzarich Love and Yimbazeh, why is it of all the episodes and stories, it's this pasuk that's singled out, and we say so Kein Tielonu. Why? So these are the three shilas. Why Oiroh? What's the Hemshech in Yonim? The connection between Oiroh and Sasan and Simcha. Simcha and Sasan and Vikor. And why Davka is this Kein Tielonu? Well, be it a Indian who explanation is the Hine Oiroh is base Pirushim. There's two types in the word Oiroh. Pirush Aleph she'Oiroh Lashon Nekeva. First Pirush, it's feminine, and therefore Vokel Oiroh Makabel, it's referring to the Oiroh of the Makabel, which is Shokeli Lekabel Ashba. What is his inyan? His inyan is a Keli to Makabel. That's one taich. Or Pirush Beis, in Emerson, it will be explained, it just occurs to me, in the course of the Maimer, if it's a Makabel, so why is it called Oiroh together? You see? Another meaning of the word Oiroh is to create light. Mafil means to bring to direct translation, to produce. Causative. Okay, good. Me'ira, like the word Me'ira, which means a source that is luminous, that produces light. From where Oiroh comes. That's the second touch in the word Oiroh. Adarab, like the Mo'ir. So it's two extreme pirushim. The first pirush is Makabel. And the second one is not just Mashpia, that would be Oiroh, but the Moket of the Hashba. So the Rebbe suggests a biur, they're not pointing it to any other place in Chassidus, and that is as follows: Shilapirish Aleph The first Piddush Reimis Teis V'Sa'is Hey. The additional letter is alluding al Kabbalas Ashpa B'Shleimus, a real Makabal. So that also answers why it's called Oiroh. Talking about the Keli, the Makabal. So the Chayra, a term denoting Keli would be more appropriate. Why is it called Oiroh? That means that we're pointing out that the Ashpa, the Oiroh, is Niskabel B'Shleimus. It could be that's what it means to answer, not but this is not what it means to explain. What's that? It's just that Oiroh goes in the Makabal. So the Chayra, he is explaining why the Makabal is called light. Light is Ashpa. And surely a word that denotes the Makabal would be more appropriate. It's called Oiroh to be Marames, that the Makabal is Makabaling, being Makabal the Oiroh B'Shleimus. That all of the Oiroh is being fully integrated and being discovered by the Makabal. The true Makabal. It's Makabal, all of the Oiroh. You look in Makabal and you see the whole Oiroh. In simple language. It's all there. That Kabbalas Ashpa B'Shleimus. In halacha, there is something that is wet enough that can wet something else. So, meaning to say that the Makabal has integrated the Ashpa. So, in such a pnimius, the Makabal is able now to be mashpia on others that further nuance in why Oiroh. The Makabal is that also becomes Oiroh.
Is it al derech? Is it al derech?
What? Yeah, what?
Is it al derech? What's it called? Adarboim shnin loichem adati the Rebbe.
Yeah, that's part of the process of being Makabal.
This is the beginning of the last 30 years, of the last 40 of the 40 years. Yesh leheir. Just
okay. 40 years. It's entering it. Tavshin Yud, starting the 40 years, yeah. Where the Makabal has to get it and be mashpia. So that's the first Piddush. Piddush Abayz. The second Piddush was Teis V'Sa'is Hey. Again, Piddush Abayz Reimis Teis V'Sa'is Hey. The second Piddush, the Hey is being merames al Teis V'Sa'is and Nimshach V'Mashpia Kedei She'Yuchol Hashpia. Oiroh Stam is the capacity to be mashpia. But in order to be mashpia, you need a Teis V'Skaya. You have to bring it down properly. So that's the Hey, the Oiroh, the Ma'ir. The Ma'ir empowers the Oiroh to be mashpia. All right, so the Oiroh, as it refers to the Makabal, means Shleimus HaKabbalah. The Oiroh, as it refers to the Mashpia, is the Shleimus of the Mashpia. Is the Mashpia connected to the Ma'ir? So now the two together. This is the connection. In order to truly bring it down to the Makabal, that the Makabal should be Makabal at B'Shleimus. The Mashpia needs to go deeper in order to bring it down to the Makabal. So hence the Oiroh by the Mashpia, that extra Hey, and the extra Hey by the Makabal.
So this is an example where both Perushim are necessary.
What?
It's not one Perush or the other. You need, in this case both Perushim.
Yeah, they're the one and the same, in the sense that one is not possible without the other. The Makabal cannot be Makabal B'Shleimus if the Ashpa isn't B'Shleimus, coming all the way down. And in order for the Mashpia to bring the Seichel, whatever the Indian is, down to the Makabal, he cannot convey it the way it is by him in the Oiroh. He has to go to the Mo'ir. He has to go to the Pnimius HaSeichel. It challenges him. And from there, be Mashpia, hence, there's he suffer by him and they suffer by the Makabal. And if there isn't, then the Ashpa is not B'Shleimus.
totally makabel the Yerushalayim that the mashpia first needs to get from a deeper source.
So they can't hear you, so I'll just say what you're saying. So you're saying, in the Seder Advorim, Adam is suggesting that first has to start with the mashpia, and then the makabel. Yeah, however, that is true in the Seder Advorim, but Be'emes says the makabel starts the whole process. What's ma'ira by the mashpia, this Tosfos oir, and to dig deeper and to be draw on the ma'ir of the seichel and the kud atzmi of the seichel, and therefore is able to bring it down to a world that's totally not his. This is because the Talmud sits in front of him and wants to learn. So the Talmud is ma'ira is by the mashpia. Or he has to at least want to be mashpia. So the Talmud has to be there in his heart. If it's not there physically, and he can sit and perhaps access the moed without the physical Talmud there, possibly a devoted teacher, but it's the makabel that really is integral to the process. So the Yuvan, no, did we finish? Yeah. The Yuvan shall be understood. Oh, there's going to be masbi the Inyan. Shmatzin al derezeh b'Avram Avinu. We find this by Avram. Shebetchila nikra b'shem Avram. First, he was Avram Mashpia. Avram means exalted father. V'achakach nitoisva b'shem Oisei v'nikra Avram. And then he became Avram. So this is our letter Hey. What happens? His name changes, and what does it now mean? Nas Avram be'pchinas av hamoin goyim. He's not only Avram exalted, seichel hanel mikol rayin. Chassidus brings a whole elevated level of intellect. He grasped God and the pagan world, but more than that, he grasped that there is a God. Now he becomes mashpia to hamoin goyim, a father of a multitude of nations. As the pasuk says, Hashem tells him, Avram, and now your name is Avram. I've now placed you and made you a father of many nations. But Pasha Begashmi is Yishmael, for Eden, Yishmael. So what changed here? Conveyed by the letter Hey. Avram Pirushi Avram. Oh, she brings it here. Avram means elevated. Av Seichel Nel Mikol Rayin. It means a level of intellect that's beyond every mind. Now he goes from Avram to Avraham. This is the Mo'er. This is the Etzem HaSeichel Eliki Milamayla Mayla Adin Ketz. He's now connected to the loftiest levels. Ad Latzmusei Umahusei Yizbarech, to the very essence of Hashem. Shazeo Inyan Tosfos. Hey, that's what the letter Hey is conveying. Instead of saying it's conveying addition. The Rebbe just pulled every plug on that addition, the set condition, that addition, and it means biz atzmus. So then from there, that this can come down now, and he can be megala and reveal godliness to the whole world, to a multitude of nations, all the way down. That this is grasp, his bittul, this is pnimius of chachma. The Rebbe says in Tanya, in Perek Lamed that God, that in chachma is the keli for the truth of Ein Sof, the hul of Adahu, right? The truth of Alikus. So this is the seichel hanelam. So this he's being megala and snimshach lamata mata el hamoin goyim, to the multitude of nations. So here's an illustration of this, an explanation of that. Now, that is even being in a Torah, and likewise in Torah, there's Torah and then there's Oiroh, here in the Megillah Esther. Shekafish mitzad atzmo Torah, as it is itself, it's called Oiroh Torah. However, which is through Yidden, that Yidden, hemshach to my mother ago. Right? through the Amshach of the Elyon in Torah, he nikras b'shem Oiroh. Here, Torah is elevated to the level of Oiroh. There's a footnote. Why didn't they put it in the Maamar? I don't know. So they say, Nisker, it was mentioned in the Maamar. Maybe they're not sure where he said it, so they're putting it in the footnote. But it eventually got taped. But I don't think the first part of the, at some point, Rabbi Chadakov's son came in with a tape recorder. But the beginning of it, as I understand, Rabbi Mentlik was there, the Rosh Hashiva, and he was the Hoyso. So it could be they don't remember where the pasuk was said, so they're putting it here in the footnote. So in this Gam Mashakosov, he also mentioned the pasuk Eita Oir Kasalma. He wraps himself in light like a cloak. The Torah Pchinas Salma Umekabel. So this is referring to, this is Oir Lashon Zocher. Oir Lashon Zocher itself is in Mekabel, the Fiyerech, to the etzem, the pnimius of Torah. It's a salma, it's a garment, the Mekabel, Oira Elyon Shenimshach Boi, to a supernal light, which is the Moirish of Torah, the Oira of Torah. He says, like Meira. All right? So let's continue now. The Inyan Zeh, so this second Inyan, this Avodah, this Inyan. What Inyan? That it's Nimshach in Torah Oiroh. Nasa the Avodah Yisrael, that's done through our Avodah. Shmamshichim b'Torah melamayla him, we draw into Torah that which is beyond Torah. That's the real Chiddush, you know. The Torah world is driven to be machadish. So the Emma says it's a corruption of a truth, of a very deep truth of the whole Avodah. The real, when I say it's a corruption if it's, you know, for self-aggrandizement. And I really shouldn't use such a strong word because that's the Seder Shalei, the Shema, you come to the Shema. Right, so you start off, you want to be a Gadol and make him be machadish and be the hero of the Zal. But really, but that never leaves, you know, then it gets just, it gets real, you know. And it's enduring because that's what Torah is about, is the Chiddush. But the real Chiddush is the Tachlis HaBittul to be Mamshech in Torah, the Mokkad of Torah higher than Torah. That's the real Chiddush that you didn't have to add to Torah. That's the Torah Chadasha that Mashiach reveals. The Re'iyah Nelikus, the Re'iyah of Seichel Hanel and Mikol Rayan, and brought down in a way that everybody experiences it. That's the Emes HaChiddush.
Does that have to do with being machadish? Like, how is that being revealing the...
But I'm just saying machadish, I mean novel, it's not there.
Right.
It's not in a simple level. And it's also true that a true Chiddush in Torah, a true Chiddush, which is not your interpretation, but really being machadish is being megala, a pnimistic level that wasn't revealed before. It was there, but Behelim, not revealed. So Emes HaChiddush is that as well. But that's an intellectual Chiddush in halacha and insight. That's rooted in the ultimate, that's connected to and expressive of the real Chiddush, which is drawing the Eibishter himself into his Torah in a way that's not revealed classically, because Torah classically is Ishtal Shalus, it's Takaseichel and etc. But it's Gvul and it's part of Ishtal Shalus. We are drawing the Neisen HaTorah into the Torah, and that is the ultimate Chiddush. That all of this construct is really purely likus and beyond limit. Let's continue to Kedisa b'Mayna Chachma, as it's brought down in Sefer Mayna Chachma is a Sefer that Moishe Rabbeinu wrote, apparently, taught to him by the Malachim L'mayla. I don't know if it is around. The Sefer is around. I don't know why this. So why not bring the place in Mayna Chachma if it exists? I think it does. Anyway,
in the original Maamar that I'm looking from the original book, it brings down Ora from the Likutei Torah. Is that over there by you too, Likutei Torah Shlach?
Yeah, but that's a common Mekoimis. I'm talking about the Sefer Mayna Chachma. So he brings there, the original mind, did you have Mem Aleph? I think it's the same. I don't think they make any changes.
There are plenty changes.
Yeah?
I'm following it in the original.
Okay, so this is more worked over. David, what we have is the latter edition. We have the beneficiaries of Ehester, no? Kalmanson. What's his first name? The one meet by the oil. He's huh? No, he's not Mantle. Maybe, yeah, he's Mantle.
No.
Shimon.
No, Shimon, Yisrael Shimon.
Yeah.
Shimon Kalmanson. We used to meet him by the oil, Shabbosim. He works in Lahak and he does the memoriam. Zalman used to say the guy's living in America for 45 years and still doesn't speak English, virtually. It's interesting. His whole Kol his brothers all Rosh Yeshivas. His father was Rosh Yeshiva. Kalmanson brothers, one Paris and one in Cincinnati. So he's the younger brother. The father's Rosh Yeshiva in Brunois.
In New Haven.
One in New Haven, yeah. The brother in New Haven. They're all Goinim, Ga'ana Goinim. Quiet fellas. So that's what he became. He works in the Hak. I've been with us many times, right, Gishmak? So it says Akoponim. So it says in Zoya and then in Ma'ina Chachma, David ha'imachabed Torah shelamaylim kutchebrich. The Torah used to connect David. David's avodah is to connect the Torah above with the Holy One, blessed be He, with the Eibishter. That he affected the yichud of the Eibishter with again Torah, ostensibly externally is chachma. It's that's an ishtalshalus. That he's megala the neis na Torah in Torah, and that's the chiddush. That's the avodah. V'kivin shistalka b'raisa bara alma. There is, by the way, we should learn it. One of the contrasim came out in the last years. It's a whole kundas on Torah Chadasha Mititeitze that addresses this whole Indian. Alpi Nigle and Alpi Chassidus. How the Chaza is going to be kosher then. And other Chidushim. All rooted in this. The Yidden will expand literally the bounds of Torah, the limits of Torah. And since the Eibishter looked into Torah and creates the world, says the Zohar, and so therefore through the avodah of Yidden to be mamshech, the nois and the kutchebrichim ma'raisa, the result is Torah nases hamshacha lamata. Torah is connected to the world. Where be mamshech in Torah kutchebrichu. So this is the Avam Ben Goyim. That's nimshech lamata beifin sheperetzes as kol agdorim. So Torah now illuminates the world that it peretz, it explodes literally, shatters all limits. V'nimsheches lamata mata beyoser, and Torah is drawn all the way down here, and not just Torah, but the kutchebrichim Torah. Ad l'mazat tachten, shin tacht lamata imeno, down to this world of which there is nothing low.
It seems there's two different things happening.
Go on. Speak up so that he can hear you.
We're speaking about revealing the nice in Torah. Now we're talking about Torah and the world.
Since Torah is the blueprint of the world, that naturally then is drawn into the world.
So that's how Torah is.
Torah is like the memutza. Pardon?
Saying that Torah is like to reveal the nice in Torah, because Torah could seem like Google and Shtalshalus.
Seichel, yeah.
And now we're connecting it with the world. So I don't understand the Torah.
Because Torah is the memutza. Torah is atzilus, chacham atzilus. It's the mutza between Torah itself and creation. Atzilus is nimshach in creation. So if atzilus, Torah, is suffused now with this whole gila, the tzayid shtalshalus, that then is carried through by malchus into creation. Memutza, it's the memutza. So the memutza suffused. It now expresses that in the other end of the connection to which it's connected to. And in Pashtas, by saying the words, Malchus, the words of Torah, with the sense of the Nois Na Torah, that's what we're talking about. This is Megala, the Eibishter in Tachten Shetach Lamata Imena. And you live by it. Say it.
So when you're bringing out the two Pirushim on
Yeah, yeah.
So that's kind
What
of,
did, what did Adam?
so
One second. Yeah.
So the Perisha base is that the Abishter is Megale, or you bring the Atmos into there, and then through the Perisha Aleph, it's Mekabel, the Shlemus in the world once that's done.
It's through us. Through the avoid of the Makabel, the Miyached, Raisa, the Kutchabricho, we are drawing on Kutchabricho in Torah, and the Mashpia of Torah becomes now suffused with a whole new Atzmis Dikair. Ephraim.
Don't we normally say that through the mitzvahs we bring down Atmos into the world, Payal Mamish,
Yeah.
as opposed to like learning Torah?
Yeah. So everything is relative.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is relative. So Taka mitzvahs, which is usually we Taka say the Ratzon Hashem, and that's an action. Mitzvahs engage the world, so the transformation is through mitzvahs. So that's both. But mitzvahs themselves are found where? In Torah. In order for mitzvahs to do their thing, this process begins in Torah, this Atzmis Dikigili in Torah. And that's just simply how it works also. How do you arrive at, how do the Chachamim arrive at, what are you supposed to do? It's a whole discussion in Torah Shabbal Peh. This is the Lishma. It's only learning Lishma, actually, that the halacha will be decided accordingly. The Gemara says, why is the halacha like Hillel, not like Shammai? They were noichen, they were luvin, they were humble, noichen, and putting self aside, allowing Beit Shammai to speak first. So Chassidus says that's the measure of why the halachas like them, because they're nicer guys. A better argument. The answer is because the bittul. So the bittul in Torah, so they're mamshich, the nice in Torah. Therefore, the halacha, the mitzvah, therefore, which is the next final step. They don't do the mitzvah, the dir b'tachton doesn't happen. You're right, but it's all a process that starts through Torah and then ends up in the mitzvah b'poel. But as we're saying, the mitzvah b'poel is decided in Torah through the one that has this bittul. That's demanded for that time and age. Shammai's avodah was a higher avodah, which was will be when you make some Mashiach. Yeah, someone had a question here. No, let's go further. But there's a lot of chidushim here in this maamar. So we're going to read now. It's not said anywhere in Chassidus. This is why it says Oiroh v'simcha. We just finished saying that Torah is nimshach lamata and it bursts all the gedorim. Well, that's simcha. That's the hemshach he asked before. Why does Oiroh lead to simcha? In other words, in Pashtus. Let's try and appreciate the nuance of the question. What was the question? The hemshach yonim. The hemshach yonim. These are the four things that you didn't have. That Oiroh and simcha and sosen and mikar. And I think there's a medrash that actually says that Haman was geyser on these inyanim. It was the gzeir on these four inyanim, so hence through the celebration. What's the shaila? The answer is the pnimis has got to be connected, not four disparate this and this and this and this. There's a hemshech that Oiroh leads to simcha. Because Oiroh is amshacha of kodshebrich in Torah, it's nimshach lamata, and bursts all the boundaries of Ilam Hazeh and makes this world a dira. That's therefore simcha follows directly from Oiroh. Yeah. Because Oiroh, which is the Oiroh alien in Torah, the nice in Torah, such that it's perits all the limits of this world, that the world opens up, right, and becomes a dir le'yizbarech. So integral to all this is the avodah of simcha. Kiddush is simcha, peretz kol agdorim. Simcha breaks all limits. Now the next thing, what follows after simcha? No. So what does Gemara say Simcha means? It means Yontif. Until it's begashmi is rejoicing. The simcha of mayadim, the simcha, like we say in Kiddush and in the tefillas of Yom Tov, which is dafke beyayin basar and wine and meat, k'maimer, like the Gemara says, bisman habayis in simcha lebasar. Bisman habayis, there's no simcha other than the korban. So I met the korban chagiga. The korban chagiga that the person would bring, part of which was consumed by him and his family. And after the korban, vein simcha ele beyayin. So now it's dafka wine. It's still a minig to eat on Yom Tov. It's more than a minig. Meat. Shabbos, the food is fish, not so much meat. But Yom Tov meat because of the korbanos. But yayin that's the ikar is yayin, yayin no basa gashmi. We're talking about yayin basa gashmi. So we have the hemshach advarim here. That Torah is the makar Torah, and it's an imshach lamata, and integral to that is simcha. And simcha has to be manifested pashat lamata in yayin and basa gashmi. So far, so good, yeah? Let's go a little further, yes? Omnam ingen Oiroh v'simcha. But everything we described until now, Oiroh v'simcha shem chachma bina, which are chachma bina. Oiroh is chachma, we mean here, pnimis chachma, and bina simcha, bina expansive. Pasha begashmi is from the person, the simcha in a new idea is when you grasp it. There is a tainug, there's a deep tainug when in the discovery, but the simcha is when you understand it. So, Oiroh v'simcha is yichud chachma bina, which is wonderful. However, it's still not, as you're saying, mitzvahs. You've got to bring it down. This is a zivug, a ruchnistic union. Zivug neshikin, as described in Chassidic Kabbalah, the zivug of kissing, which is the beginning of the wonders. This is the beginning of the Hamshach. But the tachlis is she is zivug gufni. But the tachlis is that the zivug should be gufni, that the two gufim become one. Till that the kus comes all the way down to at least like that this should manifest manifestedly and actually and physically. So therefore, the pasuk continues that Hamshach of Sosein and Simcha Chachman bin Torah and Simcha is now goes further. Sosen Vikar, and what's Sosen Vikar? Sheyichud Zun.
Rabbi, on this previous line, you said about Tachlisi she is Zivu Gufne. Then Ad she Yeshana is Mitzvus.
Ad she Yeshana. Ad she Yeshana. You're right. I'm sorry. Correct. Yeah. Correct. Ad she Yeshana is Mitzvus until it changes. Correct. Ad she Yeshana is Mitzvus elamazat tachten. So we have to bring it down. The Gashmi is. Thank you. Till we change the world. Liislay Yizbarech. Liislay Yizbarech. Liislay Yizbarech b'tachtain. Yeah. So this is the next hemshech pasuk. Shoinyan yichud zun. This is where the yichud of za and malchus. Ki sosen zu mila. Sosen goes on mila. Moshe the Gemara brings sosen neiche al imrasecha. I rejoice on your words. K'meitze shalarav. The Gemara says that it refers to mila. Your word, your commandment to observe Milah. And what's Milah? Milah is Yisoid. And what's Yisoid? Yisoid is the Iker of Zah, the final level. The Hashpah, Shal Yodei Nase Zivu Gufni, it's through which there's the Zivu Gufni. That is what Sosain, Milah, Yisoid. Vikar elu tefillin, and Yikar is tefillin. And what's tefillin? all of Torah is compared to tefillin, which means it embraces all of the mitzvahs, everything, all of Torah. Now another diak, tefillin can only be made from that which is permissible to eat, the Gemara derives. The fact that it's made by something which you're allowed to eat, moving kosher components, we're bringing down a likus to a place where it could not be kosher. So that's Gashmi Mamish, where there's even the opposition to likus. And all the way down there, with dafke mutter, permissible as opposed to asur, so there we're bringing a likus, yikar, the glory of a likus. Sviris HaMalchus, that's Sviris HaMalchus, vad bechinas havaya moloch geus lovish. All the highest levels of Malchus, that Hashem, King, garbs himself in glory, geus, in glory, or true gaiva, true imkol hadargas, gavose godla, right? We say in the we say in Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur Tfilis, not B'chol Minim.
In the Piyutim.
The Piyutim. Im kol hadargas of Malchus. That's all of the dargas of Malchus, and it's root Lemaila. So it's all Nimshach, all the way down Malchus, all the way down Yekare L'Tfil Mitzvahs, all of Torah, and Dafkas Torah addresses a world where there's a choice of mutter and not mutter. Concluding, so now tracing the whole Amshach. Zon Malchus, Haina Chibud Yisoid Malchus Sosam v'Yikar, Sheideze Nimshach Le'Lemzeh Tachten, Sheitachten L'Matim Imen. And then we're going to conclude with the Kein Tiyelonu.